So you got any New Year's resolutions before we begin?
I don't make New Year's resolutions. I don't see the point in making a resolution as something of no intention of keeping.
Well, let's you say that, man. Why don't you just say something like, I intend to drink more, fornicate more, and ogle more? Everyone should have resolutions you were to keep. I make resolutions like this. I intend to make the maximum number of people rich and miserable. Or I should say, or miserable. No, I think I meant and miserable. But anyway, you're in the picture. So, let me ask you a couple of key questions again. Do you think 2015 is going to be better economically than 2014?
No, I don't.
Oh my God, what else is for this? This sounded good.
Well, because the way the financial market's working at the moment, everything's looking downhill, so I don't see that anything's going to improve.
The great thing about Chris is that he believes in the Billy Goat's Gruff. He was the original for that story. He didn't even time. Listen to this. I had a dream last night that the Cameron government fell.
That's not a dream.
It was so
That's
real.
Reality.
Is that true?
That will be a reality.
Oh, now you've changed the tense of the verb. I wanted you to tell me whether my dream was accurate or not. I've been so busy all day. Yvonne Moore, we're going to kick you out now. Yvonne, we're going to give you 2 minutes, and then I'm kicking you out. I want to talk today. It's the last day of the year. All the shekels are pretty much in the bank or whatever there. So I'm just going to let my hair down, and unlike Mr. Chris, I have a couple more strands that he has, and I look positively voluptuous too. I'm going to just say things that I'm not usually very candid, meek and mild is my middle name. The milk of human kindness runs in my veins. It just happens that it's curdled. I'm going to talk about people who have the audacity to think they're in business when any idea that of them as a business person is a joke. And today, in this little diatribe, it's going to be circulating the world soon, and I wanted people all over the world who are crazy enough to believe their lunacy is such a degree that they think they're going to be able to run a business. And they don't have a clue. Like spit in the wind. And if there are 6 people out there who defy me and say, I want to be part of your team, beat me up just so you make rich, I'll do it. I'll beat you up and I'll make you rich. And you'll be grateful to me. You'll tell your grandchildren, that Lant, he was crazy as a fox. He beat me up. He screamed at me. And God damn, I'm living on the end as a result. So Chris, today it's all holds barred. It's like sumo wrestling. We're going to go to the International Wrestling Federation for marketeers. Are you ready, everybody? Everybody ready out there? Anybody want to? We might call on you for some commentary too. You never know. Patrice Porter says ready. And what about you 80-something people up there in the rafters? You ready, Mr. Chris? You ready for Armageddon comes to the internet?
I'm ready.
You've chosen an article for us. We might need a little calming influence. What did you find?
I found don't make New Year's resolutions for yourself. Make them for others. It's easier, more fun, and less trouble.
Oh, I think that's a good one. What else have we got? Cornucopia. We've got Michael Russell here. All right, so let's do this. This is Dr. Jeffrey Lant, and I want to say something for all you weasels out there who post things that are anonymous. I have never posted an anonymous comment in my life. You can't stand up for yourself and your asinine views, and don't have any asinine views to put on the internet. Thing number 1, we've lived through a period of great cowardice, moral cowardice on the internet. We had people lying, deceiving, scamming, hurting people all over the world. If you're one of those scumbags, get out of here. We intend to make reputable people reputable money. Want to comment on that, Mr. Chris?
Yes, there are far too many people on the internet pretending to be something they're not. If they had any convictions whatsoever, they'd use their own names and their full identities at all times.
Whatever one might say about me, I sign everything I say. Beat me up, scream at me, argue with me, besides I love it. I'll chew you up. Now, Rich Stevens, you are. Rich, welcome to the Live Business Center of Worldprofit. I'm putting your instructions on the screen. We're in the middle of our program called Leading Goals. Now, I always come with gifts. And here's the gift of this hour, and I want you to listen to this. Not only am I going to give each of the next 6 people what was promised by the last hour, I'm going to add 150 associates. And I'm just to the point. I can afford to be lavish because so many of you are so stupid that you don't understand a good deal when you say, I'm giving you the best offer ever made, and you're going to say, and I'm going to say, yep, that's why I give you the best offer in the world, because you're too dumb to take it. What do you think about that, Chris? I'm going to give them the eBay store. I'm going to give them the Amazon store with 50,000 products. I'm going to give them all a free month service, my 19th book, all the goodies that George has crafted onto those different buttons, all of that, plus 150 associates. Do you know what it would take the average knucklehead to get 150 associates? They never could do it, and the next said couldn't do it. So you want to know how come I'm able to give you such lavish offers? It's because you people are too stupid to take them. If you were to come up to me and stand in the line and say, give me things, then George would probably scream at me. Say, stop giving away the ranch. Yeah, I don't like ranches much anyway. I prefer the Ritz-Carlton. So here's the deal. Christopher and I, we're going to start off with an article. It's going to put us into a sedate form of mind. And then I'm going to close out the 6 final scholarships right during this hour. If there's a single person in the just one who wants to make money, you step forward and I'm going to lavish you in a way you've never been lavished before. Well, anybody interested? You see, I scare him, Chris. I scare him. I just come in the room and I look at myself in the mirror. I look at myself and say, you look like a 70-year-old person should look. You look like you've been on the block a few times. How could I scare him? The truth hurts. That's stupid. And by the way, for the record, this is our program, Anything Goes, the longest running live program on the net. We tell it like it is. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it like it is. They want to go to the Disneyland equivalent of marketing. This is Disney marketing land. Here in this ride, you put in 5 cents and make $3 billion. Guaranteed. This kind of idea would come out of Walt Disney. That's right, by Friday. Now, anybody interested in making Rick Stevens? Rich, I'm going to bop you right out of here if you don't come speak to us now. You got 1 minute. No, I've been living in fear for the last year about the genie that I unleashed writing my autobiography. Because unlike Dr. Muntha, who had his villa in the Bay of Capri, Bay of Naples, right off the villas of Tiberias, and you had to get on a boat to get to Dr. Muntha. You have to only get on a subway to get to me. And I'm beginning to get calls and go, oh, I read something in yours. And I'm thinking to myself, what have I done? So listen, friends, this is what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking that you're going to have to pay $100 to talk to me. 50, no questions answered. $100 to have a question answered. Otherwise, I'm not going to help you. It's going to be like I'm going to run in an ashram, very upscale ashram, Chris. None of these goat turds and yogurt and whatever else they eat at ashrams. I am not an expert in. Rick Stevens, you interested in getting ahead in your life? I'm going to bop him out of here in 1 minute. Let's have the article. let's have some. I can talk about resolutions. And anybody who else has got good resolutions, let's hear them. I hope one of your good resolutions is to stop making excuses for your lack of performance. Yeah. The first rule of business: it's your business, it's your responsibility. Anybody disagree with me? And by the way, Chris, remember, I was the Illinois State debate champ 50 years ago. And I'm still as good as ever I was when I was 16 years old. Even better. Well, Chris, what have we got? Let's start the article off.
Okay. Don't make New Year's resolutions for yourself. Make for others. It's easier, more fun, and less work. By Dr. Jeffrey Lant. It's a time of the year about obligatory New Year's resolutions. You know what I mean. I plan to go on a diet and become chic and spelt by Valentine's. I'll go to the gym every other day, so help me Hannah. Muscles and enticing curves or bust. I'll eschew the lights of eating one sugar-soaked Little Debbie after another. I will. You get the idea. There is something abhorrent about admitting that you are imperfect. I don't like it at all. New Year's resolutions imply that you have somehow underneath the high standard of perfection, that there is something not quite right about you, and nagging something that needs instant attention. What could that be? Like you, I look in the mirror every morning, and despite advancing age, I see nothing but the spitting image of one who is, indeed, the fairest of them all. It offers to think otherwise. Thus, while wishing to do my bit to uphold the traditions of old lang syne making resolutions, I find it hard to do so, as I have nothing to improve and everything to enjoy. And this modest idea. Give up resolution making for yourself and focus your full attention upon the others. Lamentable, imperfect, with a pressing need for overhauls large and small. Draw up a list of persons known to you with glaring, jarring imperfections. Not stint. Remember, you are performing a useful act, a noble act, an act of kindness and empathy. So let yourself go. Think of your aging peers and their shocking habits, of your relatives who have lived the excuse of bobby fat. Think of your too boisterous year's friends, and the motor mouths whose decided opinions on everything under the sun are perhaps de trop. Think of the always late delivery boy, those with too many unattended felines in a confined space, and the olfactory discomfort I occurring. Think of prevaricating politicians, and those with nookie on their minds and an acute inability to contain it. Look around you and weigh in with a will. You have many resolutions to craft and far too little time in which to fulfill them. Timing is everything, after all. And New Year's resolutions in March, and, well, tardy. Act now. Now write the New Year's resolutions for others. This part could be troublesome and demands your full attention and craft. Resolutions must be simple, straightforward, honest, and at least potentially doable. The insufficiently loved and abundantly padded brother-in-law fat just won't do. Try this instead. New Year's resolution of brother-in-law, Bob, to lose 15 pounds by month's end. And then your signature on it. Keeping your resolution short, sweet, and to the point is de rigueur. Mail the resolution. Email the resolution. Only ensure that your kind thought for their betterment and perfection reaches them early January. Imagine how grateful, how pleased the recipient will be when he, a pronounced embalm point, receives this missive and his kind little message becomes apparent. And your New Year's resolutions, even to those near and dear who share your abode and are bosom buddies and dear companions. companions on your earthly journey. The tempting, even for those expert and experienced in providing life-enhancing New Year's resolutions for others, will be to personally deliver message upon hallmark silver salver. Resolutions to the people near at hand, spouse, children, impecunious son-in-laws, etc. You'll think of their profoundly grateful responses. You'll think of the affection and love in their eyes. You'll hear with delight words so lavish and abject that even that practiced purveyor of the obsequious riot heap would be put to shame. No, you do not want to miss a moment. But you must. For your recipient will need a moment or two to compose himself, and, no doubt, let fall the grateful tear that you should care so much and have gone much further on their behalf. Allow them a moment of reflection in privacy, as they think how grateful, how very grateful they are to have such a one as you in their otherwise imperfect life. Savor this moment, glass of grog at hand, for you have done the very best of deeds. Sing under your breath this little remembered chorus from Robert Burns' immortal annual anthem of maudlin sentimentality, Auld Lang Syne. Two have run about the slopes and picked the daisies fine, but we've wandered many a weary foot, Auld Lang Syne. And now, gratitude indeed. As I was finishing up this practical report, there was a knock at the door, and the telephone rang. Then I just decided to fit in my email. I was not surprised. I was expecting such a deluge. After all, I had contacted many with a hearty abundance of resolutions, necessary, specific, in-depth, all rounding honest to a fault. Now, no doubt, the expected responses, the epistles of gratitude and fulsome thanks were at hand. Oh la la! Imagine my surprise upon reading the first of these messages. New Year's resolution of Dr. Jeffrey Lant, your lover. Then one signed by my concerned brother, my worried father. One jointly signed by my still affectionate niece and nephew, my wealth could tell you, best friend, my long-suffering partners, even my silent until now driver and his wife, and all the very most. It was jolting, to be sure, to learn that so many felt so strongly that there was much of need to enhance and correct. But these messages, profoundly honest, stimulated the only New Year's resolution I shall make this year: to love them all, warts and all, and be profoundly glad I have them in my life. Happy New Year, 2014.
That sums it right up. So let's make some resolutions for Rick Spins and Carol. Carol, Indy, you're back again. Carol, what brings you back? And Rich, we're going to remove now in 2 minutes. Rich, 2-minute warning. Carol, are you ready to join us now and take one of the remaining 6 packages? 6 packages is what we've got. That's all we've got. Carol, are you ready to speak to me? And Rich, the same. Friends, you cannot come in here and not communicate. If you're not going to communicate, we're just going to toss you out. So Carol and Rich, what's the story? I'm going to give you each 1 minute.
This is a live business center. It's Rich and Carol. It's not a peep show.
Oh, really? Well, then all those things I saw recently were, well, spontaneous, I suppose. Rich and Carol, I'm giving you 30 seconds now, and I'm going to remove you, and you're not going to have any shot at the scholarships or a prosperous 2015. You know, the thing is that all these people that sit there like dead horseflies, you could almost tell what their income on the internet is going to be. It's going to, Carol Kinney makes $100 in the next year on the internet. That will be considered necessity. Rich Stevens, yeah, you know what? Now, back to my tirade. Anybody want to toss in something you learned about success on the internet this year before I began? What have you learned, world, about how the internet works and making money? We'll start with Mr. Chris.
Well,
he's always mournful and lugubrious.
99.999 recurring percent of people on the internet are absolutely convinced that when you offer them something that works, it's a scam. But they think nothing of going and paying $1,000 for something that doesn't work, has or never will work. So, how to get to those people, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you something that's happening down the road a piece, not just a few miles from here. We are going to have a Stephen Wynn, the great casino magnate from Las Vegas, is building a property which now is $1.750 billion, a gambling palace. And it will be better than Buckingham. It will be a real palace. The thing about these gambling casinos is that they are beautiful. They're absolutely breathtaking, the state-of-the-art everything. And then you walk in and you see the hillbillies from the poorest section of town spending their no teeth, but it might be like to go to the casino and throw it down. What we've got here is a failure for people to understand. Daniel, good day. Daniel, I'm posting your instructions on the screen. Daniel, we have 6 of our special scholarship packages remaining. And Boy Cross, we'll put your instructions on the screen. 6 packages left. Now I'm going to ask you, Daniel and Boyer, do you have an acute desire to succeed on the net? If you fail to answer me, we throw you out. So imagine, Chris, $1.750 billion to be spent on a palace that's more palatial than the czars, financed by people who say, oh, we're lucky to have this in our town. Yep, you sure are. Now, I am such a cynic that I strongly disapprove of the idea of casinos. I think it's a waste of time and money. But casinos pay money into lowering our taxes. And so in the referendum that just took place in November, I voted to legalize casinos because I oppose them so much. Now that may be called a bit of legerdemain. I laughed and I chuckled when I cast my vote. Yes, for casino gambling in Massachusetts. I looked at my bank account and I said, good, that's good for a few $100s a year for me and my tax bill will be topped. Sheldon Butcher, please respond. Daniel, I'm going to remove you. Daniel, you don't grasp the position. You're here to learn how to make money on the net, not to just sit like a dead frog. Sheldon, we need to hear from you. Sheldon.
Daniel is used to dead frogs coming from Peru.
Oh, Daniel. Que lástima. Sheldon, are you going to respond to us? If you're not, we're going to bounce you. Now, the biggest mistake that people make on the internet is thinking they know anything about the internet. I have said for many years that a person's IQ drops 50% the minute that they turn the on switch on for the computer. The average person's intellect is 50% slashed by the sheer act of going online. They don't know anything about the basics. Don't study. I mean, I don't know anything about that. Make outrageous claims, waste their lives away. Chris, if I had all these people for one day who waste their lives on the internet, do something useful like sweep stairs, wash dishes, cut down tree limbs, whatever, I could solve the problems of the world in a week by the wastage of you people coming in to places on the internet and thinking that you know anything about it. You don't! I have studied the internet now for over 20 years. I asked George Koch 22 years ago, I asked him one question. Is there any money in this thing you're talking to me about? And he turned to me with that glacial certainty that he has, and he said, more than you can even imagine. You know what? The man didn't lie to me. He told the God's honest truth. But nobody who comes to visit us, you say to them, how much money are you making? Nothing. How long have you been trying to make money? 5 years. 5 years. There are prison sentences which make less sense than that. Chris, I don't understand it. The people that come in here are stupid. And I'm sorry if it's called me Dr. J.L. Lant. Look me up and do it. They are not willing to learn. They're not willing to question their situations. So we have 110 people looking in the window who have zero shot at making money, and whatever shot that they had was taken away by their poor habits. What do you think about the habits of people on the net? And by the way, let me go back. Have you ever been in one of these Stephen Winsteino's? I mean, they are breathtaking.
No, I don't see the point of casinos, because as you say, that 9 times out of 10, the people who use them don't have any money anyway, and they're just in there throwing their dimes or dollars around and hoping, same, it's the same as the internet. They're hoping.
You know, gamblers, on the whole, are very congenial people. They have to be to explain away some of the incredible wastages in which they're involved. Just like you said, the most charming people in the world are con men. Oh, God, I've met some of the best con men. I admire them so. They're so good. What do? They'll put your hand in your pocket, steal your wallet, and give it back to you with a great air of graciousness. I approached 2018 with this belief. First of all, 2015 is going to be the year of Asia. Anybody disagree? The State Department's policy towards China was tilting east, England, east, Canada, east. In the 19th century, Horace Greeley, one of our top newspaper editors, said, "Go west, young man, go west." Now Dr. Bennett tells you, go east, young man, go east. You want to make money? My brother-in-law says, come to Mumbai. I told him the other day that I was using his line, and he said, it's true, I just can't. The place is crawling with money. And people who are willing to do anything to get it. It was like London was, London was used to be that way. Paris was that way at one point, even Moscow. Washington was that way. And now the tempo of the times has shifted east. And I, for one, am delighted. I'm learning new languages. I'm going to speak Hindi, Arabic, whatever it takes before I'm done with this. Because the money is in Asia. And we are going to be a place, an entrepot for every Asian entrepreneur. I'm going to tell you what they're going to be like. They're going to be smarter than anyone in this room. Because they'll speak English. And no one had to put a gun to their head. They wanted English. They demanded English. They sat in the front row to get their English. They worked hard to master English. And I say as a wordsmith, I love that. They're going to be on time. They're going to be polite. They're going to recognize, oh, God, I've waited for this. I am not. They love old people. That's right. I'm going to be very old for a very long time, and I'm going to have fighting throughout all the great Asian nations, most of which I can't even remember their names, neither can you. Chris, this is going to be an exciting day and year where people want to expand into Asia, people who want to help people from India and Pakistan and all the other countries. You know what? That Lant, he's a clever coot. I looked at the present he gave me for Christmas, which is this marvelous silver globe of the Earth. And today I figured out that it's solar heated, it circulates. And that, I think Lance was trying to remind me, as if I need to remind him, that this is the greatest time to be alive for people who want to make money from the East. And I've been thinking a lot over the last several weeks. So the greatest stories of Western civilization is the move to find the way to Asia and the riches of Asia. Do you know that every century since the fall of Rome has been about the tilt to the East? Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Marco Polo, Christopher Columbus, Vasco da Gama, great names of exploration, Ferdinand Magellan. We're all looking for the riches, the way to the riches. And I found a way. And I'm going to tell you the way. And I'll tell you because I'm not worried that any of you will steal it, because you're all so damn lazy. So I'm going to tell you the secret. In 2015, I'm going to be sitting here with every Mohammed, and God knows. I've always wondered how they do the phone books. How do they do the phone notebooks in Dubai. Whoever's got the same name. I can't. I would like someone to give me a serious answer because I don't know. And Abdul is here, and Nursal Samad. Gentlemen, you are who we're trusting to. I'm going to establish a presence in Asia. I'm going to be the friend of every Asian entrepreneur. They're going to love me. And all I wanted, a lifetime interest in the Taj Mahal. I'll even pay to wash it up. Does anyone else believe in this tilt towards the east? Is anyone else going to tilt? No, you're going to sit here and tell me all the reasons why you can't do it. You should see my email. There isn't one that says, God let the tilt towards the east. That's brilliant. I'm reading a book, by the way, about Queen Isabella of Spain, of Castle, and her husband, Fernando Aragon. They got the pictures. They saw the money coming from the east. And they grabbed it in its unbelievable amounts of gold and jewels and land and everything else that went with it. Nobody in this room is going to do that. It's too much trouble, Chris. It's really asking a lot. The Lant character, he really asks a lot. He wants me to bathe, put on a clean shirt, talk to people in a good way. It's too much. I can't do it. I got to see my therapist. We now have a therapy-based civilization. You know what? The more I read about Christopher Columbus, these people were crazy. They were crazy too, but they were crazy. They got on the boat and went to the West Indies crazy. You're just so crazy you go to your psychiatrist crazy. Now here's the deal. Abdul, are you going to speak to us? Nursal Samad, are you going to speak to us? There are 6 packages left. And we are going to dispose of them to 6 likely souls who want to make money. No ifs, ands, or buts. Is there anyone in this room who wants to make money that way? And I don't care how cynical you are, but I got news for you. I intend to be the toast of the East. And this has got to be ironic. My family sent people to the Second Crusade. We went to the East too in a different way. As I thought, my God, your family's been involved in this for 100 years. It's going to be an interesting 2015. How many of you are going to trek along with me? Chris will.
Oh, yes.
Speakos, Chris. Speakos, Aid.
I'm going to Saudi Arabia because they're throwing the oil prices at the moment, and they're hoping that everyone is going into the oil business.
I have news for you. The East is where the action is, and I intend to make Worldprofit the center, the focal point of the worldwide entrepreneur. And for all those of you who can't find $99 and you bitch and kvetch, you don't do anything, and you expect results out of nothing, and you're trying to build castles out of air, you can't even find the air. You are on the wrong side of history. And I have thinking about my father the other day, he begged me, don't go to Harvard, it's bad for you. Well, I'm keeping the news from him about the tilt from the East. Now, Gary Smith, you might want to come up for a minute if we lose Chris. Now, we still have 6 people here. 6 people, 6 packages. I'm waiting to empower 6 people right now. There's 8 of you in the rafters. I'm ready to empower 6. 6 people who are going to enjoy the run for the money and enjoy getting the money at the end of the run. Who wants to do that? Anyone? I know Patrice does. Anybody else? Probably all hiding under the table at this point. All I can tell you is, rarely in my life have I gone into a new year with as much optimism, grit, and profound thankfulness as this year. Not because I lived 2014, but because 2015 is the opening way to the tilt towards the East. So, we'll wait a moment here for Mr. Chris to return. I'm waiting. There are 6 packages left, and we are going to put them, we're going to go good home before the end of this day. And our president has just flickered on, Sandy Hunter. We wish her the happiest of New Year's. What a hard-working gal she is. And we're waiting for Mr. Chris. And report a progress report. And there's that Mr. Kosh. He's doing what he does so well with the deals. He and I and Sandy Hunter deal over 20 years ago. It was the making of all of us. And I didn't say, oh, George, how many hours a week do I have to spend doing that? Oh, George, do I have to put money in? Oh, George this and oh, George that. You know what? He said, well, we needed and we moved ahead. That's what entrepreneurs do. Less crap, more money. And we have 78 people looking in the window. I'm anxious to meet 6 of you. It's just 6. So 1 out of every 10 of you. Come on down. Get yourself your scholarship now. It's worth $2,500 plus. And for those of you that are not familiar with our program, I'm speaking now from the middle of Hartford, Cambridge, Massachusetts, the capital city of the Internet. This is where it all started. And every major Internet company is taking up residence in Cambridge. And our Worldprofit office is right smack dab in the middle of Cambridge. You couldn't be any more centrally located than we are, right across the street from the school. I'm sure that Chris is trying desperately to find his way back. And here he is. You're lucky I can add love, Ninnis.
Who did that?
You did it. One thing that you'll always know about me is I never bounce my colleagues on the screen off because then I have to do more work. It's totally selfish. There's nothing whatever to do with equity or kindness or congeniality. Forget that. It's because if I bounce you off, then I have to do what I'm doing and what you're doing. So forget that. Now listen, we're coming down. We're in our final quarter of Anything Goes today. What kind of candidate advice do you have? See, I am a complete and total cynic at this point, which is why opening up the company to Asia is such a big deal, because these are people who are hot. And you know what? This is how I forget. Many years ago, I taught a class in English for foreign civil engineers. The class was 100% Arabic and whatever. And I had the title of Lecturer in Civil Engineering. Me, it's wonderful. Isn't it academia wonderful? You get all these titles. And I witnessed what I'm talking to you about. The seriousness of intent of those people who don't want to live on top of each other. They don't want to live in poor conditions. They don't want to live in countries that have revolutions and dictators. They don't want to live in places where people cut up in the supermarket. They want what we've got. And they want it more than we want to keep it from them. We don't want to share, whatever we may say. And there are a lot more of them than of us. So I dedicate myself firmly to, just calling me Christopher Columbus. You can be Queen Isabella if you want. I'm leaving that role open for you.
I'll be King James the First of Spain. Then all the dough comes to me.
Oh, yes. You mean James de Santiago, de Compostela. Okay, Luis Montero, you've been here 6 times. You've taken no action. Are you ready to talk to us now? Luis Montero. And we're coming up to 13 minutes to the hour. Well, you might as well read something of mine since these people are sleepwalking. I've been up for the last 3 nights. Is it show? Yeah, Lant, you look raggedy as hell. right, here we go. I'm going to give Mr. Chris a good present here. You want to read from the bottom, probably. This is chapter 10. I'm already a third through with it. I'm going to be done with it next week. Or hell will freeze over. Luis Montero, come back when you're ready to communicate with us. I'm playing Chris's favorite song. It's about money.
Camelot, whose every resident was better known to me than my own neighbours and the many cousins I saw but once or twice in a year. Why didn't you? One summer day I was in the room my body resided, and with every flight my fancy began. There was peace, tranquillity, and another opportunity to hobnob with the chivalry I admired and emulated. Halcyon describes the scene, or at least to my mother, the Baroness flew into my serenity like an avenging fury. But what was the crime? Reading, that's what. Reading. Too much, too long, with too much concentration, ticket to oblivion. And the resulting penalty needs be severe. Oh, what Percy intensive action. Her words were sharp, searing, unforgettable. Up, go outside, throw a ball like other boys. I imagined she had peeped in the window, no doubt, knowing what she'd seen before her eye confirmed the scene which enraged her. The outrage of many days rose up into the memorable scene. A scene of complete and intensive truth, where too much is said for the incident ever forgotten, much less forgiven. And so she threw king and courtier into green grass of the craved sun. I, translucent, pale, scorned. I am by surprise, I am chagrined, I am angry. No sign of the Ken mother, though she believes she has outraged me and my peace out of loving her. But I do not believe this. I believe she has acted so churlishly because of wit passed from lip to ear amongst the unthinking and their adamant sisters whose boys kick balls, thereby disguising their limitations beyond measure. And so, in response to her outraging my world, my king and my knightly order, each of us, sans peur et sans reproche, I set a great poem she loves, Chicago. Carl Sandburg, acerbic and stark, resolute portrait of a great city of great imperfections and people great enough to overcome them and sin again, while sweating, while singing. I want her to know, never to forget that I too am Chicago, undaunted, unafraid, with grit and stink and naked flesh and resolution as much mine as hers. Hog butcher to the world, toolmaker, stacker, player with railroads and the nation's freight handlers, stormy, husky, brawling city of the big shoulders. Come and show me another city, with lifted heads singing, so proud to be alive and coarse and strong and cunning. And so I came to become a fighter on the field of poetry. The most glorious field of all. Each word questioned, each word scrutinized, each word subject to removal. Never mind that just minutes before it was caressed and beloved. The story of my perfection trumped all. No, many years later I told this story in my remarks to the Connecticut Library Association. There was at first laughter, then concentration, then silence, as each member of the audience remembered their skirmishes and how important they were, protecting them, a lifetime vocation. Laughing the stormy, husky, brawling laughter of youth, half naked, sweating, proud to be hugged but cheerful with their stacker of wheat, lair with railroads and freight nation. And so I have lived, pungent cocktail of flagrant Chicago and turbulent Camelot. I am both, disdain either. Never merely one, and there's a rub. One more spurt tail and cute as a bug in a rug. I have been aware of Carl Sandburg, 1878 and 1967, as long as I was aware of awareness. He was one of her favorites, hence presented to me from birth. I knew that the fog comes in on little cat feet. I could see it, or at least my mother's readings made its careful movings plain. Then there were his books and television program Lincoln. Spare as the man himself, haunting in their lyric beauty. Where I learned everything about Lincoln was touched by a melancholy that defined not only him, but us. For we knew that this great man could be felled by evil, so could each of us. Thus we were troubled in mind and spirit, falling back on God to explain what we could not. But God said, as Abe Lincoln is the people's man, so must the same people seek to understand him. He is a gift, but you must use your wiles to say why. Though this will not be an easy thing. Deep plots and sailor suits. Carl Sandburg was born in Galesburg, Illinois, which is a thing of no little importance to me. To me, mind. I can only help. It will come to be hope. I don't hope it will come to be important to you too. One humorous relative of comfortable aspect, possibly my great, but I am kidding you, if not myself, by trying for accuracy here, when I am clueless on the matter of who contains whose DNA and in what proportions. But never mind, the story is still a paper. It concerns my Aunt Grace, who was a person of consequence in this charming town of strict malls and tailored grass, all laid out lovingly under the spreading maples with mien of money and godly magnanimity. He, of course, knew all the residents and what smiled upon them. They were not surprised. People, meaning our people, whispered that Aunt Grace had money, but possibly the only member of the family. I was possibly the only member of the family who did not know, but I was only 3, not being au fait the precise size of her undoubted fortune. I yet had the most important role to play, to perfection, cute and insinuating. To her aunt, my comfortable future might well depend on it. Aunt Grace was mortal. We all knew it. Although it would have been in the worst possible taste to say so. But everyone but me, mind, did so. We had bills, assets. The necessary conniving conversation grew lush and serious. There was, as it happened, a great deal at stake. Aunt Grace was an oil heiress, Oklahoma its origin. Like the precise Calvinist she was, she took the good thing God supplied and invested it to get more. More came from the riches that were the apple of her investing. Being the church woman that she was, she liked to have a finger in all God's books. This included, of course, the parson's liturgies, which he delighted to refine to her taste and advantage. Hallelujah. And Grace needed an heir. Every dynasty does. And thus the decree went out for all the world to be surveyed, especially they were the three-year-old boys which were near, if not dear to her. All three boys had been born in 27, Aunt Helen's Dwayne and me on the same day, and Doris Jean Ricky a little later. I have always been of a competitive disposition, and this visit to Galesburg, founded in 1837, first Illinois stop on the Underground Railroad, was no exception. Chic and adorable, dressed in the best-looking sailor suit money could buy, which instantly triggered the side effect, while Aunt Doris Jean was chagrined and not smouldering. Aunt Helen of sharp comment was not. Why did you dress up, lad, so much? Why, to get the money off, of course, which was nothing less than God's honest truth. In a minute, Ricky was whining all the combat. And as for Dwayne, he always looked like he'd swallowed something disagreeable, even then. And Grace reached for me and Palm told me years later, nothing on this planet had ever looked so angelic. I know I'm a pro. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. It was 2:10 a.m., New Year's Eve. My attitude is, baby, baby. My collar's up and I'm ready to party, than which there is nothing more important this day or any other. At Worldprofit, we are having a day-long open house. And like my mother and father, I've invited all the one brother, including you, bro, in all your glory and appeal. First tune I've selected is Money for Nothing, released by Dire Straits in 1985. It sets the appropriately manic tone of crazy, wanton lust and unvarnished materialism. After me and my TV, I love you, the man. I am enveloped in my dark blue Arch Druid Ultra Suede cape made in India, the facing in bright gold braid. I look good enough to eat. I should have learned to play the guitar. I should have learned to play them drums. So you never learned to play the guitar and drums? What a wasted use.
I was studying. I didn't study everything. I unlearned it all.
I was too busy learning to study.
I haven't thought so much about my childhood since my childhood. I'm telling you, now it's a mineable for incredible numbers of us. Each one seems to lead to the next one.
I'm the same way. I walk along places where I used to play as a kid. When I was 5 or 6 years, I think of the thing I used to do. And the kids, they can't do it because those places are gone. And I think, oh my God, what are they missing? They've missed all the good stuff.
Well, let's see. Are you up for the next hour? Ellen Joseph is a new junior monitor. Are you up for the next hour? Tanya's up. Okay. Tanya, who's after Tanya? Who's after Tanya? Tanya, are you up for 1 hour or 2?
Tanya's here for 2 hours.
Okay, here's what I want to happen. Tanya, I want you to meet Alan Joseph. He is a new junior monitor. Would you like to take him up with you? All right. And by the way, Tanya, I think I got your present today, but a fruitcake arrived, but there wasn't any card or anything with it.
That's the one I sent.
Yeah, exactly. See, this is exactly what I figured. Chris would jump on it right away. Make it for the next 5 minutes. I'm going to ask, speaking of that, when the young people of today look back upon their youth, they're going to look back upon people sending them half-assed across the same room. They don't actually talk to each other. My favorite image is one that I saw in the park at one point. Young men and women were holding hands, talking on the phone to other people, and of course, being a veteran eavesdropper that I am, I got it as close as I could. And there were two that were together, that were making dates to be with other people. Excuse me, what kind of social relationship is this? It's completely mad. Well, we want to bring.
Finish up.
We want to bring any. We hope that you'll come up with us tonight. We're going to. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to be irresponsible. But we're certainly going to go do the radio at some point tonight, because that is a New Year's favorite. And again, I want to thank Mr. Linus for many sessions of Q. He's a damn funny bastard, the truth of the matter is. And by the way, did you ever figure out what I wrote about you in my new book?
I proved out the
See, I'm hoping he doesn't actually know, because then I'm not going to tell him when there's so many chapters now. He would have to read the thing from beginning to end, which isn't such a bad thing in its own self, but he'll wait for the paperback edition. This is the paperback edition.